Hello, welcome to the Inner Goddess interviews. I'm Lynn Thurman and I'm chatting with women who are unleashing their inner goddess and following their soul path. And today I am really happy to be speaking with Ana Goncalves. She is a spiritual mentor currently in Portugal near Lisbon, and she is on a mission to help people find happiness and joy and live their purpose. Welcome, Anna. Thank you so much for being part of our interviews.
Thank you, and thank you for welcoming me. I'm really happy to be here. Big waves to you and to everyone.
Big waves back. First I want to start off by happiness. You're on a mission to help people find happiness, and it should be so easy. We should all be happy. Why do you think that so many people are missing out on happiness?
I think one of the things is that in society, when we go to school and then we're taught the idea that, when we study and get an education, that, we have to get a job and follow through, and then like there's a specific cycle that we have to go into, and then later get married, and stemming all the way from childhood, when even having fears around, and our own parents and the imprints that they lead on us, and the fear that is associated with how we step into the world attached to that. Like from my own experience, growing up here in Portugal, I was always very happy, and then when I went to England, I picked up that I was meant to study very hard, and that was the way, that is the focus, and the focus wasn't so much on enjoying myself as a child. I had to study, and then later I had to work very hard. And so what I'm trying to say is that maybe the focus isn't so much on us and on what we really desire to do, but so much on the demands of society and what we are supposed to be doing and what we are pressurized into doing, that we miss out that significant part of ourselves. What makes us happy, what can we do right now? And then it's about coming back to the realization that actually we do have the power to make ourselves happy and create a happy life, and make that shift around to what we truly desire and want. And through my time living in England, I just found happiness in the simple things, from being around people and just talking with people, to playing, to reading. I just started finding happiness in the subtle, simple things of life, even the seasons and how they were changing. And then the more I started finding those pockets of happiness, the more I started opening up to what I really liked, what I really desired, what made me happy, and what I wanted to do in the world. And then I was like, hang on, this is what true happiness is about. It's not really following a set path and what society expects us to, or other people expects us to, but really following our own calling and how to incorporate that into the world, how to step up and really take a stand for what we believe in and what makes us happy. Now that is, that is the tricky bit, and that is the question, to really stand up for what we really believe in and what makes us happy, because that's where I feel that each of us holds ourselves back from really taking that ownership.
it must have been a really big culture shock coming from Portugal, where you said that you were happy, to England, where I'm sure that other people in the UK will kind of will get this, that you're put into school, you have to put all your hours in at school, the emphasis is always on academic lessons. Even you get to a certain age when the fun subjects like art and anything creative gets pushed aside, and then you're expected to get a job, or you go to university and then you get a job, and then you work until you retire. And good gosh, it must have totally like frazzled your brain.
It completely did. And for a period in my teenage, I was quite depressed because I was thinking, what kind of life is this? Am I meant to really, is this it? Where, it was like almost asking myself, where is the joy? Where is the purpose? And how do I fit into all of this? It's like those questions, because I couldn't work out why it had to be that way, because even from my own parents and peer pressure of having that around, of when you start studying and then, the GCSEs phase and then going into university, especially that period. I'm sure that maybe all teenagers can relate to that. It's very pressurized. And from then, it just made me realize, this isn't right. And it almost, in a way, I felt like I wanted to get out of that system. I just, was a very low point. I don't want to be here, because it's like, what's the point? If I can't be happy or live my purpose, then it's like there's no meaning. And in my head, I thought, oh, this is the only way. But actually, it wasn't the only way. And it isn't the only way, because it's really about, following your own path and, you know, creating your own happiness and really stepping up and standing up for what you believe in. And from my journey, that's certainly been the case.
It's really difficult as well, isn't it? Because the people who are kind of like following their own paths and trying to find their own happiness are kind of not looked on kindly in society, because they're breaking away from what is expected. So you kind of meet a lot of resistance as well, don't you? It's
Absolutely.
like, oh, well, she must be like, is she taking something, or is, or she grow into the right path, or this, oh, I don't know, we've got it all
Or,
backwards.
or even like, coming, will she divert and then come back? Oh no, it's just a phase that, she's going through. And, yeah, have that as well.
Exactly.
It's just, it
Exactly.
doesn't make it very easy, the environment and the people around us, and especially as a child and as a teenager, where you really need that support. And I know that many teenagers and children in the world do receive that support, and I realize as well from my own journey that I had to go through that experience to get to where I am now, to really living my happiness and my purpose in a way, to just keep going. And it's like every time something came up and put me back down, I had to remain strong and just, kind of walk through it. And it kind of built my muscles, but at the same time, it's not easy at all. It's not easy. But
That's why the world needs more people to actually say that there's a different way, there's a different path. If you're brave enough to take it and follow what's in your heart, there is a way, and I'm doing it, and other people can do it, and then you're a guiding light for other people. Because who really wants to be stuck in a 9 to 5 forever and just waiting for retirement, and then you're just waiting to die, aren't you? It's depressing. I
yeah,
went through exactly the same thing when I was a teenager. I used to watch my dad come in from work. He'd get up early, he'd go to work. He had the same pattern every single day, and he was very unhappy. And I used to think, my God, there must be more to life. And of course, I ignored it and did exactly what everyone expected me to, and was really unhappy for a long time.
that's how, everything is set up. The people that we see as well are our parents, and kind of going, that we don't have any other mirrors around us. So it's kind of like that is what it is. And then but then when you realize that actually there is a way, and it's very encouraging and supporting to know that there are people, like you say, out there to support those, like it's like breaking away all the chains that are keeping them down, and to show them that they can get back in touch with themselves and their happiness, and they do have the power to create what they desire. It's just really a whole new world, and following that through, it's just really transformational.
How does it compare to Portugal? Is there that same kind of pressure in Portugal as well, or is this kind of something that you found almost exclusively in the UK?
I think to an extent it probably is found everywhere. I guess because I don't when I was growing up here, we because it wasn't like a city or a big town, and everyone just kind of grew off the land, were growing vegetables and had animals, so it was kind of very that kind of old fashioned way of sort of living in the community way. And from coming to from that environment to like London, which was completely the opposite. So it was, it was two different worlds, and I can probably relate that in other parts of the world where there are cities and more urban environments, then it might be the same. But then there's like different factors, the people, you know, and how they are, and how their mindset, and just various different factors really. It's just made me aware of all over the world that there are different places where people get to experience different polarities, and it's never really the same. But from my awareness and through that experience, that maybe in society as a whole, that there is still that pressure to go down that path. And I still find that even around, like, say, my cousins or my family, that, they are married and they are much younger than me, and they are working as well very hard. And so maybe in that way it's still there.
You mentioned that when you were in London, and viewers, actually, Anna and I used to live very close together, although we never actually met when we were in London. But it is a very urban area. It's on the outskirts of London. It's very urban, and you mentioned that you found happiness in the little things. Now, I know a lot of people live in cities as well, and you have to try extra hard to find the little things in a city to make you happy, don't you? what,
Absolutely.
where did you find your happiness in the city?
I found happiness. The first thing that I really um, kind of connected with is journaling. I used to journal a lot to my own time and just write down what I felt, and that made me happy because it was what I was going through. And then, um, well, later in life, because I wasn't really allowed out when I was young in London, and I loved being outside. That was my life when I was here in Portugal. And seeing as I wasn't allowed out, we always had animals growing up, and so my parents had a cat. They got a cat, and in the way he made me happy. He was like my best friend as well. And I also used to draw, and I just looked out the window and looked at the different seasons. For some reason, looking at the clouds made me happy, and looking at the rain and the sun, it was just because I didn't have that freedom to go outside, so I was just, kind of looking at the weather with a sense of wonder and just really gratefulness that it was there, and really appreciating that it was there, and just boarding games, singing, dancing, various. It was always very creative, kind of just making up different games on the spot, And then I think when I was about 15, I really got into Wicca. So I started practicing a lot of white magic, and then I just really, just really practicing energy healing, but I didn't really look too much into it. And the more that I practice, I realized, wow, it's like this is very powerful, and we all have this, this healing with us, that we can heal ourselves. And it was a whole new world of, yeah, it just really brought me in contact with the universe and the connection with spirit. And that was one of the ways that I could really connect, and also one of the ways that I could feel alive and connected to the world and just really happy.
And these are like looking out the window, really simple things that people forget about, and looking up at the sky all the time. Anyone can do that wherever they are. And it's like those really easy, simple things that we all seem to forget about when we're stressed and busy. That's great advice. I mean, everyone can step outside right now, bare feet, look up at the sun, look up at the sky, and find a little piece of happiness if they let it in.
Yes, absolutely. It's right. Just being on this earth really is a true blessing. And, we're really a blessing here because we're part of nature, like it is part of us. And like when I was looking up at the clouds and the trees, I was like, I felt this kind of so much love that, feeling the connection between the tree or the cloud, that it made me feel really alive and happy and very grateful to be here. So it's just, that awareness that, you're very valuable on the planet, and that you're here for a purpose.
And at night time, just stepping outside for a moment or two and looking up at the stars, and then you can just feel that you're part of something, and it's so vast and it's so big, and it just, well, for me, it just like it blows my mind. All it takes is like 1 minute outside, and I'm like, whoa.
Like vast universe expansiveness.
Yeah, and here I am in it, a tiny, tiny, tiny speck, looking at everything around me, and you just you feel so grateful to actually be a part of it. Simple things all the time, isn't it? Always the little
Exactly.
things.
And just that realization, I think that's what it made me see, that looking at the clouds, or like you say, looking at the stars and the vast expansiveness, and you're that little one thing, you're still part of it, but it makes it like, all the stories and things that are going on within inside us, it's like they dissolve, because you get to the realization that actually there's a lot more in the world. And yeah, it's just that really deep awareness and love of who we are. It just gets really blown into the wider picture.
It does, doesn't it? And just takes a second to go outside and open your eyes, because when you're going through all the learning stuff and the school and the jobs, etc., they it's almost as if people don't want you to see what is out there, what is out after the 9 to 5. That there's so much more. There's so much. And I know that you're beginning to work with people in Portugal now. How do you help people realizing that they are, amazing individuals with so much potential, and happiness is a birthright, not something that you have to strive for?
Well, first of all, I help them to really see that they do have the power. They do have the power to create all that they desire, by supporting them step by step, and just really letting them know how they can do that. And I do that in a variety of different ways. And intuitively, I work with people to really access, what is it that makes them happy, and what can they do right now in their lives that will bring that happiness in and will bring that love and joy in, so that they can focus on that right now and work with it, instead of maybe later, for it to be like a later goal, but really just practicing that here right now and really creating what they desire to create, and also releasing the baggage, like limiting beliefs and fears and patterns, things which are really not even who we truly are. Just getting into the awareness of what those are, and then releasing them from who we are. It's taking like a cloak off, and then accessing ourselves through that. And it's a great question, because there is something very special on its way, which I haven't disclosed to anyone yet. So I'm actually been working on something very special, and it's around what I'm sharing with you today, and it's
We
open
have
for
an
everyone.
exclusive.
Yes, I haven't shared it with anyone, so you definitely have an exclusive. And one way to find out more is to sign up to my newsletter, because that's the way that you're going to get to find out more about it firsthand. And alongside that, you'll receive a morning meditation. It's actually about connecting with your power for you to feel centered and calm and connected with yourself, and really to start the day off in a revitalized and energized way. So you'll get that as a free gift as well, because I just like giving gifts.
That sounds fantastic. Where can people sign up to your newsletter? If you get also after, if you give me the address, I'll make sure that it goes on the YouTube as well, so people don't
I'll
forget.
give I'll give you the address as well. It's http and then two dots / I will give you the link, eepurl.com / capital D, little u, little q, big D, and big H.
Right, I got that down as well, so I'll make sure I'll type that up and put it in the links for everyone. Brilliant. So you've got an exclusive coming through your newsletter, so people need to sign up and they get a meditation. I mean, you have to start the day right. And how long is the meditation? Is it easy for people to fit in their day?
Yes, it's 9 minutes long, so it's not too long, and they can play it when they start their day, wake up and listen to it. Or I've been told by people that some other people that they haven't listened to it in the morning, they've listened to it in the evening, and it still had the same amount of impact. Or when they have been feeling very stressed, like they're in their minds, there's been a lot going on, so they've listened to it and then they've just felt relaxed and connected to their inner guidance and really centered. So even through those moments, that's a time to listen. Whenever you feel inspired, you know that it's your time, so go
And
for it.
everyone has 10 minutes, so there is no excuse not to listen. 10 minutes, you can fit it in. You can switch off the telly for a little while. 10 minutes, do it. You'll feel better.
Absolutely, and it makes a big difference as well.
It really does. Brilliant. Is there any other news, any other places where people can catch up with you, Anna?
I am on Facebook as well, and I believe it's facebook.com. I think Awaken Your Heart and Soul.
Right. I'll find that and put the link as well so people can find you. And you have a YouTube channel.
Oh yes, thank you for reminding me. Yes, I do. And yes, and I'll probably send that link to you, because I don't actually know it by heart. So we'll leave it in the link so people can find out more.
Don't worry, brilliant. So I will give everybody the places where they can go and find more about Anna, because she is doing amazing work. Everyone needs to find their happiness. Everyone needs to spend 10 minutes a day getting into their power by listening to a meditation. Thank you, Anna. It has been a real pleasure talking to you today. Thank you so much, all the way from Portugal.
And thank you so much. I feel very blessed to have been with you today. Thank you. You are a true angel. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. And until next time, thank you so much for watching. Bye.